Howdy folks, Little John in the brewery. It's time to brew a beer. It seems like a bloody little bit of time since I've actually sat down and done a good all grain brew. And today I'm doing one I've been doing some hopping that I've really been keen to get into, been wanting to try for a while. So but before we do that, big shout out as always to Little John's patrons. Cheers guys, your support is much appreciated. Links down the bottom in the description if you'd like to have a look what Patreon's about and what it, how it benefits me and how it benefits possibly you. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button down there in the corner. Ring the bell, get notified so you don't miss anything that's going on. Okay, so what I'm brewing today is a beer I'm calling Dark Moon Sun, which is basically a pale ale, heavily hopped, or not heavily hopped, but with most of the hopping coming from Eclipse, the new hop variety, not been out for too long. I've been wanting to brew with this for a while. Took me a little while to actually get my hands on some of it. What I did, I tried to brew back a while ago last year, which was still back before the Eclipse had actually been named. It was still like a experimental bloody hop with just a number. HPA 016 off the top of my head, could be wrong. But really enjoyed it. I've been wanting to brew with it. I got some. It was funny, I'd actually tracked down some. I'd purchased some from Cheeky Peak, and then like only a matter like 2 days later, Kev Bristol, hopping mechanism, messaged me and said he had some. I'm going to send some my way. So I've ended up with a nice little whack of it. So time to brew with it. So I've knocked up a recipe. So I'm just quickly getting some chemical additions done for the water. So just knocking these up together. Then we'll have a bit of a chat about the recipe itself. So I'm looking at gypsum, 2 grams. Now, don't pay too much specific attention to my chemicals because obviously your water's going to be different. But what I'm looking for is I'm adding double the amount of chloride as I am gypsum into my base water, which is reasonably soft. Trying to do 2 things: A, to give a nice soft profile to the brew, and also to help the hops stand up a little bit. So for the sake of numbers, I'm using about 4 grams of calcium chloride, 2 grams of gypsum, and I'm going to throw in 1 gram of Epsom salt with the magnesium. I've already dropped half a teaspoon of calcium ascorbate into the mash water, because that's just to help drive off any chlorine and stuff that's in the water, and that works fairly quickly. And that's what I use for counteracting chlorine. You can look at Campton tablets and stuff like that. There's other options. But anyway, now I'm running off the Brewzilla app, which is just here on the laptop. Now I haven't worked out the bloody getting it up on the screen. I will look into that for coming soon. But currently I don't have the software to do that. I think it's pretty easy to get some, but it's where we are. Now it's actually given me some measurements for the Sparge as well, based off the mash numbers, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going into the mash. And in that goes. And while I'm getting the grain sorted out, that'll work itself up, and I'll mix in. Get this stuff out of the way. Okay, so like I said, I'm looking at a pale ale. So something reasonably light, let these hops sort of stand up and do their thing. And at the moment I'm looking at a mash bill of 3.5 kilo of Gladfield ale malt, 1.5 kilo of Gladfield. Now I've got Pilsner malt in the recipe. The actual malt is Gladfield light lager. Now I don't know whether it's going to make much difference on the number. I think it possibly will, just for the actual colour. I've got the Pilsner malt as 3.7. I've got a funny feeling the lager malt might have been 2 to 3 EBC, so just a fraction lighter, but not too much. Both of those malts I've got I've bought them from Mate's Rate's home brew. What's his name? Joshua or Michael. I've not used him before. He's a new supplier. He reached out to me, and so I thought I'd give his stuff a go. I've not used a lot of Gladfield. I've got a little bit here, but only more sort of this light specialty malts. So first time I've used them as a base, so we'll get into that. So we'll get some numbers, get some grain weight up. That's 1.5 kilos of lager. We'll grab Gladfield ale malt. Because Gladfield's is out of New Zealand. Supposedly getting a lot of places are using it, getting a good rap. So. Without putting grain absolutely everywhere would be a really good thing. 1.5. That's 3. Now I can't go any further because I can only do I can only do 2 kilos tops on this these scales. So that's 3. Half a kilo there. And 300 grams of Carahel. And this is just to give a little bit extra malt, just to boost it a little bit. Carahel won't do a hell of a lot, but it does add just a nice little extra touch. A little bit of extra colour, just so it's not bloody super pale. And that's it. So that's our grain. Weigh it up. We'll get that into the mill. And we'll get that milled up. Okay, so the grain's milled. Beautiful. Robo brew is ready at 65 degrees, and I'm going to mash at 65. So it'll drop a few degrees when we go in, but we'll let that come back up. It'll come back up quick enough. So that's all good. So as always, we'll give the mash, give it a good stir in, and then we'll let it sit for 10 minutes. Then we'll get the pump going. I'm going to be using a couple of handfuls of rice hulls, which I'll throw in with the grain, and then I'm going to mash that for 30 minutes, and then I'll ramp it up to 72, or I'll hold it there for about 20 minutes, and then we'll pull the pipe and we'll sparge. And I'll be sparging with the remainder of 30 litres of water, which I will have heated, and we'll be looking to have that at about 88 degrees, mid to high 80s. Mid to high 80s to try and keep the grain bed up into the mid 70s for the sparge, and hopefully that should get us somewhere around about 28 litres pre-boil, and at that point we'll check how our gravities are going. Rightio. Mash has come along nicely. I'm going to cut just a couple of minutes off going to Sparge. So just finishing the 72-degree rest. Just done a refrac reading. We're at about 10:49. We're looking for 10:43 pre-boil. So we're looking. I'm going to say we're looking to be pretty close to target. So I'm pretty happy with that. Recirc's been a little bit slow, but we've got through, and obviously from the readings hasn't affected our conversion, so we're pretty happy with that. Okay, looks like we're going to get a nice slow Sparge anyway. As I said, with that slow recirculation, clearly we got a very solid grain bed. It's not draining real fast, so this will be a slow process. Sparge water's sitting on 84 degrees, so pretty much right where I want it. And we'll get our come on, little boil going on. Righto. Well, I'll come back and have a look when Sparge is completed. We've got pre-boil volume. We'll get an estimated gravity reading. Righto, we just come under a boil. And the grain looks like it's held onto a bit more water than I was expecting. I'll just have to top up a couple of litres to get to the 28 litres pre-boil. We had a bit of a boil as I was coming to the, as I was letting the malt pipe drain. So I'm probably not going to get a real big hot break on this. Okay, so gonna let this boil for 10 minutes. Then we'll get our first lot of hops in, strata. Righto. Pre-boil gravity. It's showing somewhere around 10:41. The target was 10:43, so not too far off. I dare say, other than being a couple of points off with the refrac, I don't think we're going to hit our target 10:48. Because this is going to be set up for 60 minutes, maybe I've only done a 40-minute boil, so we'll see. But at the end of the day, I'll be happy with 10. I'll be happy with 10:45. Look at the target ABV. If we hit target was 4.9, So 10.45, still going to get us somewhere around 4.5, 4.6 in a keg, which I'm more than happy with. So all good. So hops. Obviously we're going Eclipse is the main player, but first edition will be 30 minutes, 10 grams of strata. I'm just hoping that's going to give us a nice little fruity edge up front, a little bit of bite. It's going to give us about 11 IBU, just a nice little edge on the front of it. 8 grams of Eclipse with 10 minutes to go. 10 minutes to go with some nutrient. Well flock in. We'll throw some Eclipse into the bag. And I'll get the chiller ready. Another 7 IBU, just to put some nice little flavour in there late into the boil. Trying to pull up a little bit of the character of the Eclipse so I can actually sort of see what it does. Then I'm going to do a 20-minute hop stand at 80 degrees. And we're going to drop in 30 grams of Eclipse at that point. Then we'll cool, we'll go to the fermenter. Righto, that's boil done. Chiller's been in for a couple of minutes now, just sanitising, making sure she's all good. So we'll turn the boil off and we'll get the chiller started. We'll cool this to 80 degrees and then we'll do our hop stand. Righto, we've hit 80. We've got the pump on, so we're moving the wort, and 30 grams of Eclipse, and we'll let that go for 20 minutes and then we'll finish the cooling. Okay, we finished the chill, and now transferring via the pump. Got the aeration bubble on the end there. That circulator while it was cooling, so it had a whack of aeration already. Grab a quick sample from there so we can get a hydro. Okay, transfer's done. Got 23 litres in there. Dragged a little bit of crud over with the transfer. Not a real lot, but anyway. So, it's a bang on 23 litres. Now, our sample is sitting on, let's say 1050. Now our target was 1048, so we've got where we are. So our numbers seem to be right along the way. She's looking nice and clear, apart from a little bit of bloody floaty crud in there, but that's not going to last long. That'll drop out by the time she's off and fermenting. So numbers have all come up good. Probably could have done with a little bit Probably could have taken another litre into the boil. One of them got so much crud out of the boiler into the transfer, but anyway. There's a nice level there. There's a bit of hot taste there already. No bitterness, none of that sort of bitter, grassy hop you can get sometimes in the initial sample. So I'm happy with that. That's good. I think I'm pleased with where that's sitting at the moment. So I'll be pitching that Nottingham. Discussed before. I'm only pitching one packet. Because I've only got one, and I wasn't going to muck around making starters. Because I'm going to do this under pressure, I'm going to do it 20, a little bit, it's not high, it's at the upper end of where I'd normally be wanting to be fermenting, but there's no temperature range on these. But anyway, so given the pressure should control any of those esters and things that may come from short pitch, we'll see how it goes. We'll soon find out, I suppose. It does go a bit against my normal rules. The only thing I've got 2 packets of in there are IPA yeast or a Kolsch yeast, and I really don't want to throw a Kolsch onto this. Well, I suppose I could. It's pretty light. No. I've changed my mind. I don't feel good about only pitching the one pack. So I'm going to pitch this. This is the cake off the corn ale that got done just before Christmas, which the cake come off and over pitched. Batch I dumped that corn ale onto a previous batch, so it had bloody massive numbers I used. So I'm going to wrap this up now. When I do, I'm going to get that. I'm going to get just a little bit of water from what's in the kettle and stick in that, and just let it start coming back to life over the next couple of hours. While this fella comes down to about 20 degrees, and then we'll pitch away, and so we're looking then to dry hop in 3 days, and hopefully this will be done in 6 days, and I'll be looking to go into a keg nice and quickly. So maybe 7 days, do a quick cold crash obviously before I transfer it, but I'm looking for a quick ferment on this one, see how that goes. So how the high temperature, I mean it's not super high, but it's high that I'd normally push USO 5, but see whether it handles, the yeast handles the pressure and doesn't make any weird flavours from going that high, whether it ferments out a bit quicker and gets it done, or whether it doesn't, but we'll see. So hopefully I'll be doing a taste on this one in about 2 weeks. Sort of 3 weeks at the very outside anyway. So that's me for today. So that's it. Eclipse hops driven pale ale, Dark Moon Sun. And if you don't get that one, work it out. Just have a think about it. Dark Moon Sun pale ale. So always questions, comments, stick them down the bottom. Go for your life. Again, Patreons, thank you very much Subscribers, thank you as well. Hit the button down there if you're not a subscriber, get subscribed. Hit the like button if you're watching, thank you very much. If you're interested in Patreon, hit the link down below. Have a look, see what it's about, might be for you. But other than that, I'm done. So that's me for today, Little John. Brew day over. So until I see you again, we're brewing beer, drinking beer or talking beer, good brewing.